Listen to me carefully. Success is not for the people who will try. It's for the people who commit. If you have a plan B, you've already given yourself permission to quit on plan A. And that's why most people never get where they want to go. Because they give themselves too many exit routes. When I was homeless, when I was sleeping in an abandoned building, I didn't have a plan B. I had no other option but to fight for my life and chase my dream. I told myself, either I'm going to succeed or I'm going to die trying. That's what a no plan B means. You've got to burn the boats. You've got to close every escape door. You've got to remove every excuse. The moment you create a backup plan, you stop giving 120% to your main plan. You cannot build a legendary life with half commitment. So today I'm telling you, stop playing safe. Stop giving yourself a way out. If you want to be great, if you want to live the life you've been dreaming about, you have to go all in. Work like there is no tomorrow. Work like if this fails, you have nothing left. And when life hits you, when things get hard, you don't back up. You push harder. You fight through the pain. You fight through the disappointment. You fight through the doubt. Because if you refuse to quit, if you refuse to turn back, success will have no choice but to surrender. Remember, no plan B, no backup, no safety net. Go all in and watch what happens. When I say burn the boats, I'm telling you to eliminate every single escape route you've been keeping just in case things get hard. Some of you keep a plan B, a backup option, because deep down, you don't fully believe in yourself. You don't fully believe in the vision you say you want. And as long as there's another boat waiting for you, you'll never give 120% to the one you're on right now. See, when you have a safety net, when you have another boat to run back to, you won't fight with everything. You got to make this one work. Burning the boats means you tell yourself, I have no other option but to succeed. It means you put yourself in a position where quitting is no longer even an option. Think about it if you knew you had no backup. If you knew there was no other choice but to win, wouldn't you work harder? Wouldn't you wake up earlier? Wouldn't you stay up later? Wouldn't you study longer, practice more, invest more energy, focus more deeply? The reason most people don't succeed is not because they're not talented, it's because they keep one foot in and one foot out. They keep one boat tied to the dock so they can jump back when things get rough. The problem with that is the moment you feel resistance, you retreat instead of push forward. But when you burn the boats, there's no retreat. There's no going back. The only way is forward. I remember when I was homeless, I didn't have another option. There was no, I'll just go stay at a nice hotel. There was no, I'll just call my parents and crash at their house. I had to figure it out. I had to get up every day and grind. Because I knew if I didn't, I wouldn't eat. I knew if I didn't, I wouldn't survive. That's what burning the boats does. It puts you in survival mode. It makes you sharper. It makes you more focused. It forces you to find a way. When you know you have to win, you stop making excuses and you start making results. And let me tell you, burning the boats is scary. It's uncomfortable. It means letting go of the job you hate, but that pays you just enough to stay complacent. It means leaving behind the people who don't believe in you but make you feel safe. It means stepping away from the habits that numb you, the distractions that waste your time, the entertainment that keeps you from chasing your dream. Burning the boats means committing with your whole heart and soul, even when there's no guarantee it's going to work. But here's the truth. You don't need a guarantee. You just need an opportunity. You just need one chance. And if you go all in, that one chance is enough. So many people say they want success, but they prepare more for failure than they do for victory. They spend more time thinking about what they'll do if it doesn't work out than they do thinking about what they'll do when it does. They tell everyone, I'm going to try this business. And if it doesn't work out, I can always go back to my old job. That language is dangerous because it gives you permission to quit. And once you give yourself permission to quit, you will take that option the first time things get uncomfortable. Burning the boats removes that permission. So, I am not leaving until I win. Says, I'm not leaving until I win. It tells your mind that there is no point in even considering failure as an option because there is nowhere to retreat to. You've got to get to a point where your dream is not just a dream. It's a must. You've got to stop playing with it like it's optional. You got to tell yourself, I will make this happen or I will die trying. That level of commitment is what separates winners from everyone else. Look at the greats. Athletes, entrepreneurs, leaders, they all had to burn the boats at some point. Michael Jordan got cut from his high school basketball team, and instead of giving himself an excuse to quit, he burned the boat of self-doubt and used that pain to fuel his greatness. Oprah Winfrey was fired from her first TV job, and instead of retreating, she burned the boat of rejection and built a media empire. Steve Jobs got kicked out of the very company he created, but instead of crawling away, he burned the boat of humiliation and came back to make Apple one of the most valuable companies in the world. Burning the boats is not about being reckless, it's about being fully committed. It's about saying, I am all in, I'm not holding back. Some of you are still holding back, you're still saving energy, you're still saving effort. You're still saving money for a future you're not even sure about because deep down, you're scared that if you give everything and it doesn't work, you have nothing left. But that fear is what's keeping you from discovering just how powerful you really are. When you go all in, you tap into a level of creativity, resilience, and resourcefulness that you never knew existed. You figure things out. You find solutions. You build connections. You develop new skills. Burning the boats activates a part of you that only wakes up when there's no backup plan. When you burn the boats, you also send a message to the people around you. You let them know you're serious. You let them know you're not just talking, you're doing. You let them know you're not interested in just existing, you're here to thrive. And yes, some people will doubt you. Some people will laugh. Some people will criticize. But that's okay, because you're not burning the boats for them. You're burning them for you. You're burning them so that your future self can thank you for refusing to settle. You're burning them so that you can look back one day and say, I didn't quit when it got hard. I didn't retreat when I was scared. I kept going, and that's why I'm here today. Imagine standing on the shore. Your dream is on the other side of the island, and you have a boat that got you there. Ooh, cold. Most people will keep the boat tied up just in case they want to go back. But you're different. You light that boat on fire. You watch it burn, and you turn your back, and you walk toward your goal. Every step you take, you feel the heat of that fire behind you, reminding you there is no turning back. That fire becomes your drive, your motivation, your fuel. And the more you walk, the more determined you become because you know the only way out is through. The moment you burn the boats, your language changes. You stop saying if and start saying when. You stop saying I hope and start saying I will. You stop talking like a victim and start thinking like a victor. And when you think like a victor, your actions start aligning with that belief. You start working like you expect to win. You start surrounding yourself with people who expect to win. You start attracting opportunities that align with victory. Burning the boats is the first step to transforming your mindset from one of fear to one of faith. But let me be real with you. Burning the boats means there will be moments when you're scared, when you're tired, when you question everything. There will be nights when you cry, mornings when you don't want to get up, days when you think maybe you made a mistake. But it's in those moments that you must remind yourself why you burned the boats in the first place. You must remember that comfort was never going to get you where you wanted to go. Safety was never going to make you great. Familiarity was never going to force you to grow. Burning the boats was the only way to ensure that you would stop living in the past and start creating the future. Every great story of transformation starts with someone making a decision to never go back. You got to make that decision. Decide today that you are done with half effort, done with playing small, done with holding back. Decide that from this moment on, you are going to live like there's no plan B. Burn the boats, lock in, give everything you got, and don't stop until you get there. Because the truth is, you are capable of so much more than you think. But you'll never know it until you remove every option except winning. So stop waiting for the perfect time. Stop waiting for someone to rescue you. Stop waiting for approval. Burn the boats, go all in, and trust yourself enough to figure it out along the way. Because the day you decide to burn the boats is the day you'll finally start living. Focus on one vision means stop scattering your energy on 100 different things and wondering why nothing is growing. Most of you have too many tabs open in your life. You have too many projects, too many distractions, too many priorities competing for your time, and none of them get your full attention. And that's why you're frustrated. That's why you feel stuck. That's why you're not seeing results. You can't chase 10 rabbits and expect to catch even one. You can't plant a seed, water it one day, and then go start planting something else the next day and wonder why nothing ever bears fruit. If you want to win, you have to get clear on what you really want and then go all in on that one thing. When you focus on one vision, you cut out the noise. You stop listening to what everybody else thinks you should do, and you lock in on the one thing that matters to you. People are going to have opinions. They're going to tell you what's practical, what's safe, what's realistic. But this is your vision, not theirs. They don't see what you see. They don't feel what you feel. And when you try to live their dream instead of yours, you're going to wake up one day and realize you've wasted years climbing the wrong mountain. Focus means you pick the mountain you were born to climb, and you don't stop until you reach the top. The reason focus is so powerful is because energy flows where attention goes. Whatever you give your attention to grows. If you give your attention to your excuses, they grow. If you give your attention to your fears, they grow. But if you give your attention to your vision, if you keep your eyes on the goal, if you wake up every day thinking about that one thing, planning for that one thing, working toward that one thing, you will start to see progress. And that progress will build momentum. And that momentum will build confidence. And before you know it, what once felt impossible will start to feel inevitable. But focus requires discipline. It's not easy to stay locked in when life is pulling you in a million directions. It's not easy to say no to things that look good, but don't align with where you're going. It's not easy to walk away from opportunities that could make you money right now, but distract you from your long-term goal. Focus means you stop being busy and you start being productive. It means you stop trying to do everything and you start doing the things that actually matter. I had to learn this the hard way. There was a time when I wanted to help everybody, do everything, be everywhere at once. I was saying yes to every speaking engagement, every event, every favor people asked of me. And you know what happened? I burned out. I was tired. I was stressed, and I wasn't making the impact I wanted to make because I was spread too thin. I had to sit down and get real with myself. What's the vision? What's the mission? What's the one thing I was put on this earth to do? Once I got clear on that, I started cutting things out. And I stopped saying yes to everything. I started protecting my time. I started building systems that kept me focused on my calling. And the moment I did that, everything changed. Your focus is like a magnifying glass. When you hold it over paper in the sun and keep it still, eventually that focused light is strong enough to start a fire. But if you keep moving it around, if you keep changing direction, the light never gets hot enough to make anything happen. Some of you have been moving your magnifying glass around your entire life. One week you want to start a business. The next week you want to get a job. Then you want to travel. Then you want to go back to school. Then you want to quit school. You keep starting and stopping, starting and stopping. And then you wonder why you're not seeing results. It's because you're not staying focused long enough for the fire to catch. Focusing on one vision also means eliminating distractions. You can't say you want to build an empire but spend 4 hours a day scrolling on your phone. You can't say you want to be great but waste your energy on drama, gossip, and negativity. You can't keep letting other people's emergencies become your distraction. You have to be ruthless about protecting your attention. That means turning off the notifications, setting boundaries with people who drain you, and building an environment that supports your focus. And let me be real with you, focusing on one vision might make you feel lonely sometimes. It might make people around you uncomfortable. They might say you changed. They might say you think you're better than them. But that's not the truth. The truth is you're serious about your life. The truth is you don't have time to play anymore. The truth is you've decided that you would rather be temporarily misunderstood than permanently average. When you focus on one vision, you also start to attract the right people. Because when you're scattered, you send out mixed signals. People don't know what you stand for, what you're about, where you're going, but when you're clear, when you're consistent, when you're committed, people notice. The right mentors notice. The right partners notice. The right opportunity notice. Your clarity creates alignment, and alignment is what turns dreams into reality. The power of focus is that it multiplies your effort. If you swing an axe at 10 different trees once a day, you'll never cut any of them down. But if you swing that same axe at the same tree every day, eventually it will fall. The problem is most people quit before the tree even starts to crack. They swing a few times, see no results, and then go try a different tree. And they repeat that cycle for years. But if you pick one tree and refuse to stop swinging until it falls, you will succeed. So you have to ask yourself, what is my tree? What is the one thing that if I focus on it every day for the next 5 years would change my life? Get clear on that and then go all in. Build your schedule around it. Build your habits around it. Build your relationships around it. Make sure everything you do moves you closer to one vision. And when distractions come, because they will, remind yourself why you started. Remind yourself what's at stake. Remind yourself that every time you say yes to something that doesn't align with your vision, you are saying no to the thing that does. Focusing on one vision also means being patient. It means trusting the process even when it feels slow. It means not comparing your chapter 1 to somebody else's chapter 20. It means not quitting just because it's taking longer than you thought. The vision is not supposed to happen overnight. It's supposed to stretch you, to grow you, to shape you into the person you need to become to handle the blessing when it comes. And here's the truth. The clearer you are about your vision, the easier it is to endure the challenges that come with it. Because when you know where you're going, obstacles are just detours, not dead ends. Setbacks are just setups for comebacks. Failure is just feedback that helps you get better. When you focus on one vision, you stop seeing problems as reasons to quit and start seeing them as opportunities to learn. The world is full of people who are busy but not effective. They're running around all day but not getting anywhere. Don't be one of those people. Slow down, get clear, choose your path, and then put your head down and work. Focus is not just about doing less, it's about doing what matters most. If you focus on one vision long enough, if you give it everything you've got, if you refuse to quit, there will come a day when people will look at you and call you an overnight success. But you will know the truth, that it wasn't overnight. It was years of focus, years of sacrifice, years of saying no to distraction, years of trust in the process. So stop being scattered, stop being divided, stop living with one foot in and one foot out. Pick your vision, lock in, and don't stop until you get there. Focus is your superpower, and when you use it, there's nothing you cannot accomplish. Work like there's no tomorrow means you wake up every single day and give everything you got like it's your last chance. Because one day it will be. Most people say they want success. They say they want to change their lives. But they keep putting it off like they have forever. They say, I'll start tomorrow. I'll go harder next week. I'll be consistent when I feel motivated. And that's why they never get anywhere. Because tomorrow turns into next week turns into next week, turns into next year, and next year turns into a lifetime of regret. When you work like there's no tomorrow, you don't wait for the perfect time. You create it. You don't wait for things to get easy. You start right where you are with what you have. When you wake up with the mindset that today is the only day you got, you stop wasting time. You stop hitting snooze. You stop scrolling for hours. You stop letting other people's drama distract you. You stop procrastinating on the very thing that could change your life. If today was your last day on earth, what would you do differently? Who would you call? What work would you finally finish? What dream would you finally start? When you think like that every day, you stop living on autopilot and you start living with urgency. The truth is, none of us are guaranteed tomorrow. We act like we got unlimited time, like we can keep waiting until we feel ready, like we can keep making excuses, and there will always be another chance. But life doesn't work like that. Opportunities expire. Time runs out. And you don't want to be the person looking back, wishing you had taken your shot when you had. Working like there's no tomorrow is about living with no regret. It's about making sure that when you hit the pillow tonight, you can honestly say you gave your all. This kind of work ethic separates the average from the exceptional. Average people do just enough to get by. They do what's comfortable, what's convenient, what fits in their schedule. But those who work like there's no tomorrow push past comfort. They give extra effort. They stay late when everyone else goes home. They get up early when everyone else is sleeping. They do the little things with excellence because they know it all adds up. They know that greatness is not built on one big moment. It's built on thousands of small moments done with full commitment. When you work like there's no tomorrow, you don't hold anything back. You don't save energy for later. You don't say, I'll try again when I'm in a better mood. You leave it all on the field, all on the stage, all in the vast, all in the classroom. You give your best even when nobody's watching, because you know that every rep, every call, every page, every hour counts. You understand that today's effort is tomorrow's result. This mindset changes how you approach obstacles. When you're working like there's no tomorrow, you don't quit when things get hard. You push harder. You don't waste time complaining. You use that energy to find solutions. You don't let fear stop you. You act in spite of fear because you know you may never get this moment back. There is a power that comes when you live with urgency. You become more focused, more determined, more resilient. You stop making excuses because excuses won't matter if tomorrow never comes. I know what it feels like to put things off, to wait for the right time, to think you got all the time in the world. And I know what it feels like to wake up and realize you wasted years. That's why I live with urgency now. That's why I get up at 3 or 4 in the morning, because I know every second counts. I know there are people counting on me to show up, to deliver, to lead, and I refuse to waste another day. Working like there's no tomorrow also means being fully present. Stop living the past. Stop worrying about the future. Lock into right now. Give your full attention to what's in front of you. If you're working, work. If you're training, train. If you're studying, stop multitasking your way through life, because divided attention produces divided results. Master today and tomorrow will take care of itself. You've got to set a standard for yourself. Now, to get by, stop waiting for someone to motivate you. Stop waiting for a deadline to force you to move. Be your own deadline. Tell yourself, I'm going to finish this today. Not because someone is watching, not because I have to, but because I refuse to waste another second of my life. Hold yourself accountable like today is Judgment Day, and your results are the evidence of how serious you were. And let's be honest, there will be days when you're tired, when you don't feel like doing anything. Those are the days that matter most. Anybody can work hard when they're motivated. Anybody can show up when it's easy. But the ones who separate themselves are the ones who work like there's no tomorrow, even on the days when they feel like giving up. Those are the days that build character. Those are the days that sharpen your discipline. Those are the days that prepare you for the moments that matter. When you adopt this mindset, you also inspire others. People will look at your effort and feel challenged to raise their own standard. They will see your consistency and realize what's possible for them. Your work ethic becomes contagious. You create a culture around you where excellence becomes the norm. And soon, you're not just changing your own life, you're changing the lives of everyone connected to you. This is what greatness looks like. Not just talent, not just opportunity, but relentless effort every single day. The world doesn't reward intentions, it rewards execution. It rewards the person who shows up day after day, even when nobody is clapping, even when progress feels slow, even when it seems like nothing is working. The reward comes to the one who refuses to waste a single day. Imagine what your life would look like if you treated every day like it was your last chance to make it happen. Imagine how much further you'd be if you stopped waiting and started doing. Imagine how proud you feel looking back, knowing you never coasted, never settled, never took your time for granted. That's what this is about. Living fully, working fully, broken fully, so that when it's all said and done, you can look back with no regret. You don't have to be the most talented. You don't have to be the smartest. You don't have to have the most money or the best connection. But if you work like there's no tomorrow, if you give more effort than anyone else, if you refuse to let a single day go to waste, you will separate yourself from the competition. Talent without work ethic is wasted potential. But effort without excuses will take you places talent can't. So wake up tomorrow. No, wake up today with urgency. Don't just exist live. Don't just show up, show out. Don't just get through the day, maximize the day. Work like this is your last chance to become who you were meant to be. Work like someone is depending on you, because they are. Work like tomorrow is not promised. Because it's not. If you do that, if you start stringing together days where you give your all, you'll be amazed at how fast your life changes. You'll build momentum that will carry you through the hard days. You'll develop confidence that nothing can shake. You'll create a lifestyle where excellence is automatic. And when you finally reach your goal, you'll know it wasn't luck, it wasn't chance. It was because you worked like there was no tomorrow. Eliminating excuses is the turning point where you stop negotiating with yourself and start taking full ownership of your life. Excuses are comfortable because they give you a reason to stay the same. They let you off the hook. They make you feel better about not giving your all. But excuses are also the reason why you're not where you want to be. Every excuse you make is a brick in the wall standing between you and your destiny. The longer you keep stacking those bricks, the taller that wall gets, and the harder it becomes to break through. If you want to win, if you want to change your life, you've got to stop building walls with excuses and start building doors with effort. People make excuses because excuses are easy. It's easy to say, I don't have enough time, instead of managing your time better. It's easy to say, I don't have enough money, instead of finding a way to create opportunity or cut back on distractions that waste money. It's easy to say, I'm too tired, instead of meaning you stay up too late doing things that don't move you forward. Excuses protect you from the discomfort of facing the truth. But the truth is the only thing that will set you free. When you eliminate excuses, you put yourself in a position of power because you stop blaming circumstances and start taking responsibility. Taking responsibility doesn't mean everything is your fault. It means you're willing to take control of what happens next. It means you stop waiting for someone to save you. Stop waiting for conditions to be perfect. Stop waiting for motivation to magically appear. You stop saying, I can't because, and start saying, how can I? That one shift changes everything. The moment you decide that excuses will no longer run your life, you start to find solutions where before you only solve problems. Excuses are seductive because they sound logical. They convince you that you're doing the best you can under the circumstances. They make you feel justified in staying comfortable. But if you're honest with yourself, most of your excuses aren't even true. They're just stories you tell yourself to avoid putting in the work. You say you don't have time, but you find time to scroll on your phone. You say you don't have energy, but you stay up binging shows. You say you don't know how to start, but you haven't even taken 5 minutes to search for answers. Excuses are lies that keep you stuck. And until you call them out for what they are, they will keep controlling you. When you eliminate excuses, you take away the option of quitting. You stop giving yourself a way out. That's when real change begins. Because as long as you have an excuse, you have a reason to stop when things get hard. But when you remove the excuse, the only thing left to do is keep going. The people who win in life are not the ones with perfect circumstances. They're the ones who stop making excuses about their circumstances. They find a way to win anyway. Think about the greatest stories of success you know. Most of them come from people who had every reason to quit, every reason to blame their situation, every reason to say, I can't. But they did. They refused to let excuses define them. They used their obstacles as fuel instead of change. If they didn't have resources, they became resourceful. If they didn't have support, they found a way to support themselves. If doors were closed, they built new ones. That's what eliminating excuses does. It forces you to get creative, to get stronger, to get relentless. I know what it's like to have a long list of excuses. I could have said I didn't have a father in my life. I didn't have money. I didn't have the right start. And I could have let that be the reason I stayed stuck. But I decided that my past would not be my prison. I decided that my story would not be my excuse. And that decision changed everything for me. The moment I stopped blaming the people and started taking ownership, my life started to shift. Eliminating excuses also means you stop comparing yourself to others. Comparison is another form of excuse. You tell yourself you can't do what they did because you don't have what they have. You don't look like they look. You don't come from where they come from. But you don't need their light to win. You need your life, your vision, your grind. Your excuses keep you focused on what you don't have instead of what you do have. And what you have, if you use it fully, is enough to start. When you get rid of excuses, you also stop blaming timing. People say I'll start when I'm ready, but you'll never feel completely ready. The perfect moment doesn't exist. You create the perfect moment by starting where you are and adjusting along the way. Stop telling yourself you'll do it next week, next month, next year. Next never come. All you have is now. Excuses steal your now and trick you into thinking later will be easier, but later is just now delay. And delay is the cousin of denial. One of the most powerful things you can do is catch yourself when you hear an excuse coming out of your mouth and replace it with action. The moment you say, I can't, because, stop yourself and ask, what can I do right now with what I have? That question will unlock possibilities you didn't even see before. It will shift your brain from problem mode to solution mode. The more you do it, the more natural it becomes, until one day you realize you no longer look for excuses. You look for ways. Eliminating excuses is not about being perfect. It's about being honest. It's about admitting when you haven't given your all. It's about being real with yourself when you've been lazy, distracted, inconsistent. That kind of honesty hurts at first, but it's also liberating because it gives you the power to change. You can't fix what you won't face. The moment you face it, you can start building new habits, new disciplines, new standards for yourself. And yes, this will make some people uncomfortable because excuses are contagious. When you stop making them, you call out the excuses of everyone around you just by your actions. Some people won't like that. They'll try to pull you back, try to convince you to settle, try to tell you that you're doing too much. Don't let them project their excuses onto you. Your decision to eliminate excuses is not just about you. It's about everyone who's watching you, everyone who's inspired by you, everyone who's waiting to see if you really mean what you say. When you stop making excuses, you start seeing results. Maybe not overnight, but over time, you'll notice that things start shifting. You'll notice you have more time because you're no longer wasting it explaining why you can't do something. You'll notice you have more energy because you're no longer carrying the weight of guilt that comes with procrastination. You'll notice you have more confidence because you've proven to yourself that you can follow through. Life will still throw challenges your way, but when excuses are no longer an option, you'll face those challenges head on. You'll get knocked down and get back up faster. You'll fail, and instead of using failure as a reason to quit, you'll use it as feedback to get better. You'll stop waiting for things to be easy and start getting excited about the opportunity to grow stronger through difficulty. Excuses are comfortable, but they are also expensive. They cost you your dreams, your potential, your future. Every time you choose an excuse over action, you pay with a piece of the life you could have had. Stop paying that price. Decide today that you are done making excuses. Decide that you are going to show up no matter what. Decide that you are going to do the work whether you feel like it or not. Because at the end of the day, no one cares about the reasons why you didn't make it happen. They only see the results. The world doesn't reward excuse, it rewards execution. And when you execute, when you show up consistently, when you do what you said you were going to do long after the mood you set it in has left you, that's when you separate yourself from the pack. So stop waiting, stop blaming, stop blaming. Eliminate every excuse, take back your power, and commit to doing whatever it takes to get where you want to go. Your future self is waiting on you to stop talking about what you could do and start showing what you will do. Discipline is the bridge that carries you from where you are to where you want to be. Without it, motivation fades, good intentions fall apart, and dreams remain dreams. Discipline is doing what needs to be done even when you don't feel like it, even when it's inconvenient, even when it's uncomfortable. It's the quiet power that separates those who wish from those who achieve. Many people think success is about talent or luck. But in reality, the biggest difference maker is discipline. It's showing up day after day, sticking to the plan, and refusing to quit, even when your emotions try to convince you to stop. Most people lose because they rely on motivation alone. Motivation is temporary. It comes and goes like the weather. Some days you wake up fired up and ready to go, but most days you don't. And that's where discipline takes over. Discipline doesn't ask you how you feel, it tells you what to do. It's the alarm clock that gets you out of bed when you'd rather sleep. It's the voice that says, keep going when you want to give up. It's the reason you stay consistent when others fall off. Discipline isn't glamorous, but it's the secret ingredient behind every success story you admire. Think about an athlete training for the Olympics. They don't just practice when they feel good. They practice every day, rain or shine, tired or energized, motivated or not. They understand that their performance on game day is the result of thousands of days of disciplined preparation. The same is true in your life. You can't expect championship results with casual effort. Discipline is the difference between wishing and winning, between trying and doing. Discipline is built through small daily choices. It's not something you're born with, it's something you practice. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you strengthen it. Every time you push through discomfort, you strengthen it. Every time you choose the harder, right over the easier wrong, you strengthen it. Discipline is a muscle, and like any muscle, the more you work it, the stronger it gets. But the opposite is also true. Every time you let yourself off the hook, every time you make an excuse, every time you quit halfway through, you weaken that muscle. One of the biggest lies people believe is that discipline takes away freedom. In reality, discipline gives you freedom. Freedom from regret, freedom from chaos, freedom from being controlled by your moods. When you are disciplined, you control your schedule instead of your schedule controlling you. You control your habits instead of your habits controlling you. You control your future instead of leaving it up to chance. Discipline creates structure, and structure creates space for growth. Discipline also builds self-respect. When you say you're going to do something and you follow through, you build trust with yourself. You start believing in your own word. That belief gives you confidence, and that confidence becomes momentum. On the other hand, when you constantly break promises to yourself, you lose trust in yourself. You start doubting whether you can actually do what you say you'll do. That doubt eats away at your motivation and makes it harder to take action. The solution isn't to beat yourself up. It's to start with one small disciplined action today and build from there. Discipline requires sacrifice, and that's why so many people avoid it. It asks you to say no to things that are fun now so you can say yes to things that matter later. It asks you to delay gratification. It asks you to give up comfort for growth. But every sacrifice you make today is an investment in your tomorrow. Every early morning, every late night, every skip distraction, every extra rep, every uncomfortable choice, they all add up to a future that's worth it. Discipline also requires clarity. You can't stay disciplined if you don't know what you're working toward. You need a vision so strong that it pulls you through the hard days. When your why is clear, your discipline becomes easier because you're not just forcing yourself to do something you don't want to do. You're choosing to move closer to the life you want. Without a clear why, discipline feels like punishment. With a clear why, discipline feels like power. Another truth about discipline is that it thrives in routines. When you create a daily routine that aligns with your goals, discipline becomes automatic. You no longer have to think about whether you're going to do the work. You just do it because it's part of who you are. That's why building systems and habits is so important. Willpower is limited, but habits are self-sustaining. Discipline takes willpower at first, but over time, it becomes a habit that runs on autopilot. Discipline is not just about working hard. It's also about working smart. It's about prioritizing the right things, focusing on what matters most, and not wasting energy on things that don't move you forward. It's about being intentional with your time, your energy, and your attention. So many people are busy but not productive because they lack discipline in where they direct their focus. Discipline teaches you to cut out the noise, to say no to distractions, to protect your priorities. There will be days when discipline feels like a battle. Days when everything in you wants to quit. Days when progress feels slow. Days when no one is cheering for you, no one is watching, no one is giving you credit. Those are the days that define you. Anyone can be disciplined when it's easy. The true test is whether you can stay disciplined when it's hard, when you can keep going without applause, without recognition, without immediate results. That's when you build mental toughness. Discipline is also contagious. When you live a disciplined life, you inspire others to raise their standards. People around you start noticing your consistency, your focus, your results, and it challenges them to be better. You become a model of what's possible. And sometimes that's the most powerful thing you can do. Not just change your life, but show others that they can change theirs too. But discipline is not something you achieve once and then forget about. It's something you must practice daily. It's easy to slip back into old habits if you stop paying attention. That's why self-awareness is so important. You have to check in with yourself regularly and make sure you're still aligned with your goals. You have to catch yourself when you start to drift and course correct before you lose momentum. Discipline also means being patient. Results don't show up overnight. There's a lag between the work you put in and the rewards you see. Many people quit during that lag time because they think nothing is happening. But something is happening. You're building character, building skills, building resilience. The results will come if you stay consistent long enough. At the end of the day, discipline is an act of love. Love for your future self. Love for your potential. Love for the life you know you deserve. It's not always fun, it's not always exciting, but it's always worth it. Discipline is the price you pay for greatness. And the beautiful thing is, everyone can afford it, but not everyone is willing to pay. If you want to separate yourself from the crowd, let discipline be your advantage. Let it be the thing that carries you through when motivation is gone. Let it be the reason you stay consistent, the reason you keep improving, the reason you don't quit. Discipline will not just change what you do. It will change who you are. And when you become the kind of person who does what needs to be done, no matter what, there is nothing you cannot achieve. Failure is not the opposite of success. It's part of success. Too many people run from failure, hide from it or let it define them. But failure is the very thing that teaches you what you need to win. Every setback, every mistake, every closed door carries a lesson if you're willing to learn it. The problem is, most people are so busy feeling sorry for themselves after they fail that they miss the opportunity to grow. They take failure personally instead of treating it as feedback. They see it as a reason to quit instead of a reason to adjust. But the truth is, every champion you admire has failed more times than most people have even tried. Failure humbles you. It strips away ego and forces you to face reality. It reveals where you're weak, where you're unprepared, where you've been cutting corners. That's a gift, because once you know where you fell short, you can fix it. Failure sharpens you if you let it. It forces you to get better, to get smarter. The people who succeed are not the ones who never fail, but the ones who refuse to let failure stop them. They fall down and get back up again and again until they figure it out. When you fail, you have a choice. You can let it define you or you can let it refine you. Most people do the first. They give up. They label themselves as failures. They say, it just isn't for me. And that's why they stay stuck. But those who use failure as fuel go back to the drawing board. They ask themselves what went wrong. They adjust their approach. And they try again with more wisdom. Failure becomes a stepping stone instead of a stumbling block. Failure also tests how badly you really want something. It's easy to be excited when everything is going your way, but when you hit a wall, when the plan falls apart, when things take longer than you thought, do you still want it? Do you still show up? Do you still fight for it? Failure separates the interested from the committed. If you quit at the first sign of difficulty, you didn't want it as badly as you thought. But if you use failure as motivation to work harder, to dig deeper, to find another way, that's when you prove you're serious. Failure is not final unless you quit. As long as you keep moving, failure just becomes part of your story. Every great comeback starts with a setback. Every major breakthrough is preceded by a breakdown. Think about the inventors, entrepreneurs, athletes, and leaders who changed the world. They all have stories of failure, rejection, and defeat. The difference is they didn't stay down. They didn't let failure have the last word. They turned their pain into purpose and their setbacks into comebacks. The fear of failure keeps more people stuck than failure itself ever could. Fear paralyzes them. It makes them play small, take no risks, stay in their comfort zones. They think, oh, what if I fail? Instead of what if I learn something that changes everything? The irony is avoiding failure is the fastest way to guarantee mediocrity. You might avoid pain, but you also avoid growth. You avoid embarrassment, but you also avoid greatness. Failure hurts, yes, but regret hurts more. At least with failure, you can get back up and try again. With regret, the chance is gone. You have to change how you see failure. Instead of seeing it as a dead end, see it as a detour. Instead of asking, oh, why me? Ask, what is this trying to teach me? Failure is information. It's showing you what doesn't work so you can get closer to what does. Every mistake contains a seed of success, but you have to dig it out. You have to look past the pain long enough to find the lesson. Failure also builds resilience. Every time you get back up after falling, you become harder to knock down the next time. You start trusting yourself more. You start realizing that failure didn't kill you. It made you stronger. That confidence carries over into every area of your life. You stop fearing challenges because you know you can handle whatever comes. You stop doubting yourself because you've already proven you can recover. But here's the thing. You have to fail fast and fail forward. Don't sit in failure longer than you need. Learn the lesson quickly, apply it, and move. Some people get so stuck replaying their failures that they never recover. They let one bad decision define their entire life. Don't do that. You are not your mistakes. You are not your past. You are what you do next. Failure also teaches empathy and perspective. When you've been through setbacks, you become more understanding of other people's struggles. You stop judging others so harshly because you know how hard it is to get back up. That perspective keeps you grounded and grateful when you do win. It reminds you that success is never just about talent. It's about persevering. The key is to expect failure as part of the process. Don't be surprised when it happens. Don't take it as a sign that you're on the wrong path. Take it as confirmation that you're trying something difficult. If you never fail, it means you're not stretching yourself enough. You're staying safe, and nothing extraordinary ever happens in the safe zone. When you embrace failure, you also become fearless. You stop worrying about other people's opinions because you know that everyone fails. You stop trying to be perfect because you realize that perfection doesn't teach you anything. Only failure does. You stop hesitating because you understand that the faster you fail, the faster you can learn and improve. Failure is also where creativity thrives. When the plan doesn't work, you're forced to think differently. You're forced to come up with a new solution, a new angle, a new approach. Some of the best ideas are born out of failure. Some of the most successful businesses came from someone's frustration with the way things were. If everything worked the first time, you never have a reason to innovate. Even though failure hurts, it's often the most honest feedback you'll ever get. It doesn't care about your excuses. It doesn't care about your intentions. It gives you the raw truth about whether your plan worked or not. And that truth is a gift if you use it. It forces you to confront reality and make the changes you need to make. Failure also forces you to grow emotionally. It teaches you patience, humility, and emotional control. It teaches you not to get too high when you win and not to get too low when you lose. It teaches you to detach your worth from your results, to understand that failing at something doesn't make you a failure as a person. That maturity is what allows you to keep showing up without letting your emotions control you. In time, you can even learn to appreciate failure. Not because you enjoy losing, but because you know it's making you better. You start seeing failure as a necessary step toward your goals. You start trusting the process. You start realizing that failure is not there to break you, it's there to build you. When you adopt this mindset, you stop running from challenges. You stop waiting until everything is perfect before you take action. You stop living in fear. You take risks. You go after opportunity. You put yourself out there. Because even if you fail, you know you'll get back up stronger. That's how you grow. That's how you win. So don't fear failure, embrace it. Don't let it stop you, let it shape you. Don't hide from it, learn from it. Every failure is a chance to get closer to who you're meant to be. Every failure is a test of how badly you want it. Every failure is a step toward your future. The only real failure is quitting. As long as you keep moving forward, you're still in the game. And one day, if you stay persistent long enough, you'll look back and realize that every single failure was leading you exactly where you were meant to go. Surrounding yourself with the right people can completely change the trajectory of your life. Who you spend time with will either lift you higher or drag you down, push you to grow or keep you stuck, remind you of your goals or distract you from them. The truth is, you can't build a championship life with a losing circle. You can't expect to stay focused and hungry when you're surrounded by people who are complacent, negative, and unmotivated. Energy is contagious. If the people around you are lazy, negative, or making excuses, eventually that energy will rub off on you. And if the people around you are driven, focused, and relentless, that energy will elevate you. You've got to be intentional about who gets access to your time, your mind, and your heart. Not everyone deserves a seat at your table. Just because you've known someone for years doesn't mean they're meant to go where you're going. Just because someone is comfortable to be around doesn't mean they're good for you. Sometimes the hardest part of growth is realizing you've outgrown certain people. That doesn't mean you don't love them. It means you love yourself and your future enough to protect your space. When you get around the right people, you level up. They challenge you to think bigger, to work harder, to aim higher. They don't let you settle. They hold you accountable. They celebrate your wins, but they also call you out when you're slacking. They don't just tell you what you want to hear. They tell you what you need to hear. Having people like that in your life is priceless. Because most of the time, we are our own biggest limitation. We talk ourselves out of things. We let fear control us. But when you're surrounded by winners, they won't let you shrink. The right circle also reminds you of what's possible. When you see people you know achieving great things, it destroys your excuses. It proves to you that success is attainable. It lights a fire in you. That's why you can't afford to be the smartest person in the room all the time. If you're always the most driven, the most ambitious, the most accomplished in your circle, you're in the wrong circle. You need to put yourself in rooms where you feel challenged, where you feel stretched, where you feel like you've got to step your game up just to keep up. That pressure will grow you. But building the right circle doesn't just happen by accident. You have to be intentional. You have to seek out mentors, peers, and friends who are going in the same direction as you. You have to let go of relationships that drain you, distract you, or keep you stuck in old patterns. This doesn't mean you look down on people or think you're better than them. It simply means you're protecting your energy so you can become who you were meant to be. Sometimes that means walking alone for a season. Growth can be lonely because not everyone is willing to pay the price you're paying. Not everyone will understand why you're grinding so hard, why you're saying no to certain things, why you're focused on your vision. Some people will try to guilt you into staying the same because your growth makes them uncomfortable. But you can't let their fear stop you. If walking alone is what it takes to stay focused, do it. Eventually, you'll attract the right people who align with your mission. The right circle also teaches you. They share knowledge, experiences, and perspectives that you wouldn't have discovered on your own. They give you feedback that sharpens you. They save you from mistakes because they've already been there. They introduce you to opportunities and connections that open doors. That's why your circle is so important. It's not just about emotional support. It's about strategy, perspective, and access. The wrong circle, on the other hand, will keep you small. They'll encourage you to stay comfortable, to avoid risk, to keep doing what you've always done. They'll make you feel guilty for changing, for growing, for wanting more. They'll distract you with drama, waste your time, and drain your energy. If you spend enough time around that energy, you start thinking like them, acting like them, and eventually living like them. That's why you have to audit your circle regularly. Ask yourself, are these people helping me grow or holding me back? Do they inspire me or drain me? Do they push me forward or pull me backward? Surrounding yourself with the right people also helps you during tough seasons. Life will test you. You will have moments when you want to quit, when you doubt yourself, when you feel like nothing is working. The right circle won't let you stay down. They'll remind you of your why, remind you of your potential, remind you that setbacks are temporary. They'll push you to keep going when you've got nothing left. That kind of support can be the difference between giving up and breaking through. You also have to be the right person for others. Relationships are a two-way street. You can't just look for people who will pour into you. You have to pour into them too. You have to be the kind of person who encourages others, who holds them accountable, who challenges them to grow. You have to show up for them, celebrate them, push them, and support them. The stronger you are, the stronger your circle becomes. And don't confuse having a big circle with having the right circle. This isn't about popularity or how many people you know. This is about quality over quantity. You don't need 100 people around you. You just need a few solid ones who genuinely want to see you win. Sometimes one good mentor or one good friend can change your entire life. Another thing about the right circle is that they want you to succeed, even if it means you outgrow them. They don't compete with you, they collaborate with you. They collaborate with you. They don't get jealous of your wins. They cheer for you. They're not secretly hoping you fail so they can feel better about themselves. They genuinely want you to rise. That kind of energy is rare, but when you find it, protect it at all costs. And here's the truth, you attract what you are. If you want to be surrounded by disciplined, focused, and successful people, you have to be disciplined, focused, and working towards success yourself. You can't ask for a strong circle if you're not willing to be a strong link in that circle. Level up yourself first, and you'll naturally draw people who are on the same frequency. Your circle will either feed your vision or feed your distraction. They would either remind you of your greatness or remind you of your limits. They will either push you closer to your potential or pull you back to your past. That's why who you spend time with is not a casual decision. It's a life-altering one. Every great move you make will be influenced by who's around you. And every mistake you make will also be shaped by that influence. Choose wisely. Surround yourself with people who are hungry, who are disciplined, who are pursuing something bigger than themselves. Surround yourself with people who make you uncomfortable in the best way because they force you to grow. Surround yourself with people who won't let you settle for less than your best. And if you can't find those people yet, start becoming that person yourself so you can attract them. Because the truth is, iron sharpens iron. You get sharper when you're around sharp people. You get stronger when you're around strong people. You get bolder when you're around bold people. And if you build the right circle and keep the wrong influences out, you'll go further, faster, and with more purpose than you ever could on your own. When you decide to go all in with no plan B, you are embracing a level of commitment that most people are afraid to even consider. It means you are telling yourself in the world that failure is not an option, that you will do whatever it takes to succeed, and that no backup plan exists to cushion your fall if things don't go as expected. This type of mindset is not for the faint of heart. It forces you to grow, it pushes you beyond comfort, and it demands that you develop a mental toughness that can withstand rejection, setbacks, and obstacles. You stop entertaining thoughts of quitting because quitting is no longer a choice. The only choice is to push through until you find a way forward. This level of focus gives you a kind of creative power that you never knew you had. When there's no safety net, you find ways to climb higher, to hustle harder, and to break through walls that seemed impossible before. It's not because the obstacles got smaller, but because you became bigger. You develop resilience in the process, a kind of resilience that can't be taught in a classroom, but only learned through the fire of real-life challenges. Living with no plan B means you stop negotiating with your goals. There is no if this doesn't work, I'll try something else. There's only a this will work or I will die trying. That may sound extreme, but that's the type of drive that separates those who win from those who just wish. The difference between those who make their dreams a reality and those who spend their lives wondering what if is the refusal to compromise with mediocrity. When you have no plan B, every day is a test of your faith and your persistence. You wake up every morning with one thought on your mind. Keep going. The hunger stays fresh because there's nothing to fall back on. A mental pressure that sharpens you instead of breaking you. Like coal being turned into a diamond, that pressure makes you more valuable, more focused, and more determined to succeed. This approach also forces you to use your time wisely. When there's no backup plan, you can't afford to waste hours scrolling through social media or procrastinating. You become intentional about every action you take. You start asking yourself, does this move me closer to my goal or further away? You cut out distractions, toxic relationships, and habits that drain your energy. You realize that every second counts because you don't have the luxury of starting over somewhere else. This mindset also eliminates excuses. If you have a plan B, then it's easy to say, oh well, I tried my best, but I guess it wasn't meant to be. Without a plan B, you are forced to find a way, even if that way looks different than what you first imagined. You might have to pivot, adjust, or try a new approach, but you never give up. There is no exit door, so you keep building until the dream becomes reality. No plan B teaches you responsibility at the highest level. You stop blaming others for why things aren't happening. You stop waiting for perfect condition. It's because you know you don't have time. No, wait. You realize that no one is coming to save you. It's all on you. This level of accountability is powerful because once you own everything in your life, your mistakes, your failures, your results, you also own your power to change them. This is when you start thinking bigger, working smarter, and refusing to settle. You push yourself to learn new skills, to network with the right people, and to stay consistent even when motivation fades. Discipline becomes your best friend because you understand that feelings can't run your life. You may not always feel like working, but you work anyway because your future depends on it. Going all in with no plan B also transforms the way you see challenges. Instead of seeing them as reasons to quit, you see them as opportunities to grow stronger. Every time you hit a wall, you find a way around it. Every time you fail, you study the failure and use it as feedback. You stop fearing failure. You understand that failure is not final. It's simply part of the process. The more you fail, the more you learn, and the closer you get to your goal. People who keep a plan B often give up after the first or second failure because they have something to fall back on. But when there is no fallback plan, you use failure as fuel. It lights a fire under you to get better, smarter, and more strategic. You start thinking like a winner, not someone who never loses, but someone who refuses to stay down. Another benefit of this mindset is that it inspires others. People around you start to see your determination, your work ethic, and your refusal to quit. They see that you are serious, that you are willing to put everything on the line for your dream. This energy is contagious. It might inspire your family, your friends, or even strangers who are watching you to pursue their own goals with the same level of commitment. You become proof that it's possible to succeed without having a backup plan, as long as you are willing to work hard enough and stay consistent. Finally, living with no plan B gives you a deep sense of fulfillment once you reach your goal. Because you had no backup plan, you know that every victory came from your blood, sweat, and tears. There's no doubt, no what if. You know that you gave everything you had, and that makes the success even sweeter. It's not just about the money or the recognition. It's about knowing that you kept your promise to yourself, that you stayed true to your vision, and that you overcame every obstacle in your way. That level of self-respect is priceless. It changes the way you see yourself forever. You start to believe that if you could do this, you can do anything. You develop an unshakable confidence that carries over into every area of your life. No plan B is not easy. It will test you, it will challenge you, and it will break you down before it builds you up. But if you can endure the process, if you can stay focused and keep fighting, it will transform you into the kind of person who not only reaches their dreams, but inspires others to do the same. It's a call to be relentless, to refuse to settle, and to bet on yourself completely. And when you do, you'll discover a version of yourself you never knew existed, stronger, wiser, and unstoppable. When everything is said and done, when the sweat has dried and the late nights turn into early mornings, you will realize that the journey was never just about the goal. It was about who you became in the process. You started this path with fire in your heart, saying you were willing to go all in, and now you see why that matters so much. Every challenge, every setback, every sleepless night pushed you to grow in ways you never thought possible. You learned discipline when motivation faded. You discovered patience when results took longer than you wanted. You found courage when fear tried to convince you to stop. You stood tall when others doubted you, when the world told you it was safer to have a backup plan, and you kept going anyway. That commitment has carved out a version of yourself that you can be proud of. A version that's resilient, unshakable, and relentless. As you look back, you understand that this journey was the test you needed to take to prove to yourself that you are capable of greatness. The person you were when you started could not handle the weight of the dream you were chasing, but now you've been forged through fire. The dream didn't just demand hard work. It demanded a new identity, a new level of thinking, a new version of you that was capable of holding the vision and carrying it into reality. The struggles you faced were not meant to break you. They were meant to refine you. They were preparing you for the moment when the dream would finally be in your hands. And now, standing at the edge of the finish line, you realize that going all in was the greatest decision you ever made. If you had given yourself a plan B, you might have taken it when things got hard. If you had given yourself an excuse to stop, you might have used it when the pain felt unbearable. But because you burned the bridges behind you, because you made quitting impossible, you kept finding a way. You didn't just survive, you thrived. You learned to innovate when resources were scarce, to persevere when strength was low, and to believe when there was no evidence that it would work. You became the kind of person who no longer waits for perfect conditions, but creates the conditions necessary for success. What makes this victory so powerful is that you know it didn't come easy. You earned it, every single piece of it. You sacrificed, you worked, you showed up on the days you didn't feel like it. And that is why the victory is sweeter. People who take shortcuts never feel this kind of satisfaction because they didn't put their whole soul into it. But you did. And that's why this moment feels so alive, so real. You understand now that the purpose of this entire process was not just to achieve a dream, but to build character, to build a mindset that will carry you through the next challenge and the one after that. And that's the truth. There will always be another mountain, another obstacle, another goal. This isn't the end of the road. It's just the end of one chapter. What you've proven to yourself here is that you can do it again and again. No dream is too big. No goal is too far if you are willing to commit at this level. You don't just have a victory, you have a blueprint. You have a way of living that guarantees growth, guarantees progress, guarantees results. It might not always be easy, it might not always be fast, but it will always be worth it. Going all in also gives you something that can't be bought. Peace of mind. You no longer wonder what if. You no longer sit and regret thinking about what might have happened if you had tried harder, stayed longer, pushed further. You know, you have the answer because you gave everything you had, and no matter what, that is a victory in itself. Even if the outcome wasn't perfect, you can look yourself in the mirror and know you left nothing on the table. That kind of peace is priceless. And now you get to inspire others. Your story is proof that it can be done. Someone out there is watching you. Someone out there is thinking about giving up. And your journey might be the reason they keep going. Your refusal to settle becomes a light for someone else who feels like they are stuck in the dark. You show them that with faith, focus, and relentless action, anything is possible. And that might be the most powerful part of all. The fact that your decision to go all in doesn't just change your life. It has the potential to change the lives of everyone who comes across your story. So as you stand here at the conclusion of this moment, let this be a reminder that the work doesn't stop here. You didn't come this far just to come this far. You came this far to set a new standard for yourself. You came this far to show yourself that the limits you once believed in were illusions. You are capable of more, always more. This was proof, not just to the world, but to you, that the fire inside you is stronger than any obstacle outside you. From this moment on, let this mindset be who you are. When new challenges come, and they will, meet them with the same energy, the same focus, the same all-in commitment that got you here. Refuse to go back to the old version of yourself, the one who hesitated, the one who entertained the idea of a backup plan. That person is gone. You are new. You are stronger, you are bolder, and you are unstoppable. And if there is one final lesson to carry with you, it is this: life rewards the brave. The ones who are willing to take the risk, the ones who are willing to put everything on the line, the ones who bet on themselves when no one else would. They are the ones who get to experience the fullness of life. You have chosen to be one of those people. You have chosen to live fully, to chase relentlessly, and to never look back. And because of that choice, your future is limitless. The world is yours. Go out there, keep fighting, keep building, keep believing, and keep going all in. Because you've already proven that when you commit at this level, nothing can stop you.